Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you state your name for me?
Ed Gainey, State Representative for the 24th Legislative District.
Good to see you today.
Good seeing you. Always good seeing you. Huh?
Thank you very much. Now, the 24th Legislative District is where?
Actually, it just expanded. We just redistricted, so now it takes in all of Garfield, parts of Shady Side, parts of Stanton Heights, all of Highland Park, all of East Liberty, Lincoln, Leamington, Larimer, Belmore, Homewood, East Hills, Wilkinsburg, and North Point Breeze.
Oh, well, congratulations.
And part of Bloomfield, a little bit of Bloomfield.
Wow, good
Friendship.
For you.
Yeah.
Now, state legislator, what do they do?
As a state legislature, I deal with a lot of state issues. A lot of it pertaining to state agencies such as Department of Transportation, dealing with people's license. You got Department of Education, dealing with policies and things like that that impact education. You have the Department of Licensures that deals with a lot of the license that's given out, whether it's the cosmetology, the barbers, liquor, whatever it may be. So there's a lot of different functions that happen at the state that we deal with, as well as vote on legislation that impacts the state of Pennsylvania.
Now, are you in charge of a certain committee? I know when people go into office, they always have different committees. So are you in charge of any?
I'm the Secretary of Transportation. I'm in my committee, my Transportation Committee. I'm the Secretary. I'm on Urban Affairs and Insurance, but the one that I'm most proud of is Transportation.
Right. I think isn't the fare going up soon?
Well, I don't know now. We were able to fend off some of the things. We passed a transportation bill, and in that transportation bill, it wasn't the easiest bill to vote on, but it was a bill that was necessary for Allegheny County. When you think about Allegheny County, there's certain things that we need. We cannot be a city that does not have mass transit. And so the effect of not passing a transportation bill would have meant more layoffs at Port Authority. Port Authority would have been bankrupt in March, and we just couldn't afford that. We had to make sure that there was money in place for mass transit to bring it back to the western part of Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've been in office how long?
2 years. 2 years, yeah. I'm still young. Still young.
And stay young.
That's right.
And the office is 4-year term, 2-year term?
2-year term.
Oh, so you're getting ready to
run again.
Wow.
Yeah.
2 years. That seems like, I guess with the older guy being in, the gentleman that left, he's been in there so long, you didn't know how long the terms really were.
Absolutely.
Wow,
that's a good point.
2 years. Wow, I didn't know that. That's what I love about life. You learn something new every day.
Every day. At least you should.
Yes.
That's right.
So what do you feel you've had the opportunity to accomplish the most in the time that you've been in?
Well, in these last 2 years, there's a couple things. One, the thing that I'm most proud of is that I told people that I would communicate better with them, meaning that I would hold events and let people know what was going on. And secondly, to make sure through my Facebook, my Twitter, that I stay in contact with people constantly, let them know what's going on at the state level, as well as doing a lot of different shoots, sitting down, talking to the people in Harrisburg about transparency and making sure that my constituency knows about it. So we were to communicate a lot. The second thing was the transportation bill, just learning about it, learning how the legislation happens, how things are formulated in Harrisburg. It was a very, very big bill, and to be a part of that and learn from that are two things that I take out of my first 2 years in office.
One thing I've noticed the time that you've been in, I've been to Harrisburg a couple of times, you seem to be well respected there by your peers. And I think that has a lot to say for you to be so young, to be new, that your peers have such respect for you. What do you think about that? Well,
first, I'm thankful. I'm just thankful. That's first and foremost. And a lot of it just comes from hard work. Going up there is not something that I took lightly. I didn't go up there just to be a legislator. I went up there to make my district better. So in order to do that, you have to build relationships. Relationships is the number one thing. So I work a whole lot with the other legislatures throughout the state to get things done. But I represent my district to the best of my ability, and I think they respect that. They respect somebody who's up there saying, listen, this is what's best for my district, and this is what I like to see done. And I work with them across the state to get that accomplished.
Right. So was it hard, you say across the state, when you went there, was it hard to get an alliance with people in other areas of the state?
I think it's like anything else. When you get there, the first couple months, you just want to learn. And you want to get under some people that you believe that will guide you the right way. So there were some legislators from Allegheny County as well as Philadelphia that really gave me to set the direction for me. So building that relationship, and they start asking you to do little things, and you accomplish it, and you do it, it brings you respect up there, because they say at least if they see that you're about your word. So from that's how I think I started building relationships up there.
Let's turn this now into business. When I listen to the areas that you said that you have, one of the areas that to me is the most thriving right now is East Liberty. One of the areas that need thriving is Homewood. Mm-hmm. So when you look at Homewood, what are your hopes and dreams for the businesses that are located in your district?
The first thing when we talk about Homewood, you want to change the perception. And that's why I was glad to see Bill Peduto have his victory party in Homewood, because that's how you begin to change the perception that if you have a mayor that's could have his reception party anywhere in the city of Pittsburgh, decide to have it in Harrisburg, that's one way to change the perception. Two is to start to build off of what Homewood already has. I think when you look at Homewood, a lot of people don't understand Homewood has some great assets. When you take just this corridor from Hamilton and North Homewood, and you go down to Hamilton and North Lane, you have the African American Music Institute, you have the Center for Spirituality, you have a new library, and if you take North Lane down to Kelly, you have Holy Rosary Church, and you make that right, you have CEA, you have CCAC on the corner, you have a YMCA, you have the funeral home. So in that area right there is really an educational center. You got OBB on the opposite side of the street. So what we like to see in Homewood, we want to continue to build. How do we make education a priority in Homewood? And the second thing is we have to begin to build housing in Homewood. Not the housing as once was. I don't think we can repopulate Homewood like that, because the numbers throughout the city of Pittsburgh are down. We're only 330,000 people. So looking at the numbers and saying, well, wow, what do we have to do to repopulate Homewood? I think we will never repopulate it to what 1960s was. But we can begin to balance Homewood by continuing to support low-income housing, as well as support some home ownership that will help stabilize the Homewood Brushing community. In regards to the businesses, we also have to help the businesses that's there right now. I mean, Dana's Bakery has weathered the storm. You got Jones Printing, you got Strong Cleaners, you got Dorsey Records, all those that have weathered the storm. So the more that we build that infrastructure of housing in the Homewood Brushing, I believe it'll begin to help those that's there right now. Like Ladies Daz, Market Up off of Everett. You know, we help them by just getting the EBS machine so that they can make more money. That is what I mean by just creating more economic development projects. You got Drew's in Homewood, the barbecue shop, right there on Frankstown Ave. His business is thriving. How do we work with him to make his business as successful as it can be? So I think when you look at Homewood, I think people look at Homewood always from a negative instead of the positive things that it has there. If we continue to focus on that and continue to help those businesses thrive, build new housing, support low-income housing, but mix it up with some mixed-income housing, I believe the business community will come back to Homewood Brushing.
I agree with you 100%. I was talking to Mr. Baker the other day. He has a restaurant there now.
Right.
And when I was talking to him, he owns that whole block. And when you think about that, we don't realize the assets and the jewels that we have in Homewood. So I think those are good things. So when we look at how should these businesses be trying to get involved and to do better and to work with the state?
Well, right now, depends on what they want. If they're looking to expand, then we're always looking for ways to expand. Like right now, you have the Animal Rescue League that's looking to expand on Dallas and Hamilton. So they're doing some things with the RCAP with the state. It just depends on what their business plan is and how we can help them. A lot of it has to do with, you got to look at the program that's there in DCED, Department of Community and Economic Development, and what we can do to assist them from that department.
So in other words, one of the things I'm picking up from you is that they need to be involved with some of these business development groups like SEED,
right,
Urban Innovation, because they're the ones kind of bringing money and trainings in, right, and those kind of are their first steps.
Right.
And then they should kind of go from there to
SEED and Urban Innovations, that's two good points. Because SEED is helping a lot of startup businesses. Mm-hmm. Urban Innovations is investing in existing businesses. Mm-hmm. So when you think about it, that's a good start. But there's also that big part that talks about if you're looking to do expansion, looking to expand in many ways, that's when you start looking for larger amounts of money. So you start looking at the Urban Redevelopment Authority. You start looking at the Department of Community and Economic Development from the state. You begin to look at those departments to try to extract money to invest in your community, to expand what it is you want to do. So a lot of it depends on what level of business you're in. Or we talking about startup businesses, then you're right. The seed, urban innovation. If you're talking about existing businesses, like the 10,000 grant that Urban Innovations did a couple months, that was great. It really helped a lot of businesses in Homewood. That extra $5,000 here or there goes a long way. And then we also have Bridgeway Capital now that's doing a lot of different business in Homewood brushing, and they're providing a lot of loans, not only the businesses, but the nonprofit businesses that want to see their business grow. So I think the more that we keep that focus on Homewood, you'll start to see positive things come out.
But you have such a good wide range. So you have East Liberty and Bloomfield, so there's just so many things going on. So now to take this on the other end, what type of professional legacy would Ed Gainey like to leave?
That's a good question. I mean, the legacy that I want to leave is that I was a hard worker, and that I was a worker for the people, and that I did the people's business, and that I made people's lives better. The people that I was able to touch, I made their lives better. I improved neighborhoods. I did my best to improve neighborhoods, be an advocate and supporter of projects that I believe make neighborhoods safe. That's my legacy. That's the legacy that I want to leave. I want to leave that when I'm done with this, the communities that I represent are better than they were when I first started. The people in the community are happier, to see them smile. That's why we do so much in the community now, because we want to bring that sense of love back, that sense of we are still a neighborhood, we are still a community, we are still one. And I think the more that we do that, the more that we begin to solve more crimes, we reduce violence and things of that sort. So the legacy I want to leave is legacy where I served the people.
So you mentioned crime and violence. Where do you see that? How do you see yourself working with the young people to try to kind of lead them in the right directions?
Right. Well, I do a lot of mentoring. You know that. I do mentoring all over the city with youth. And so even, now we had a youth that was in trouble. I made sure that he was in our office to work off his community service. I have a gentleman in my office named Melvin Hubbard Ill. So having Melvin in my office, having myself, and having a young guy or a young lady in my office to be able to talk to them and have someone take them to different events, show them something different. A lot of times it's just getting them out of their old network, put them in a new network, let them see something different, and mentor them from that point of view, and then the change happens internally. I think we have to have more people to do that. I think the strongest point is who are we mentoring? Are we creating enough of a mentorship with our children that we're showing them something different? The more that positive people in our community begin to mentor our young, the more we're showing them something different. And so I take mentoring to be serious and very big.
Okay. Now, the both of us are here because of Vernard Alexander.
My man.
Tell me a few words of what you think about the work Vernard does.
It's critical. What Vernard has created, and he's captured in the city of Pittsburgh through social media, is a way to communicate constantly with the community. Constantly giving them information, constantly creating venues to bring people together, and constantly getting the message out about what's going on, whether it's from the political standpoint, nonprofit standpoint, or the business standpoint. So when you have a gentleman that's engaged in doing that type of activity, something good is always going to come out of it.
Okay, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.